Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. Pierre Poilievre sat down with Jordan Peterson and had a great interview. There's a small segment I want to show you where Pierre Poilievre is talking about Jagmeet Singh, the hyper hypocrite of Canada, the guy that supports absolutely everything that he complains about. This interview is good because Pierre Poilievre is showing the world what type of leader he will be, what type of prime minister he'll be, what happened to Canada, and what you can expect from Canada in the future when Justin Trudeau and this Liberal NDP party is gone. Check this out. Poilievre says Singh's support for Trudeau has left him in a bit of a pickle. He is trying to be an NDP leader when we already have an NDP prime minister. Exactly. All of his political ideology is implemented now, and it's a hellscape. Yes, it is an absolute hellscape. Listen to this.
I just can't understand this at all. So do you want to walk us through this?
Well, let's first of all shed a brief tear for Jagmeet Singh, because the problem he has is that he's trying to be an NDP leader and we already have an NDP prime minister. I mean, Justin Trudeau is he's actually much more radical than the traditional NDP.
As the NDP themselves admit, the previous leaders of the NDP.
Yes, he attacked the NDP Trudeau attacked the NDP for being too conservative.
Yep.
But because he had the comfortable blanket of the Liberal Party, which governed for most of the last century, people didn't realize what kind of radical they were dealing with. Yeah. The second problem Jagmeet Singh has is that all of his political ideology is implemented now. So, and we're seeing it. Like, people look around and say, okay, this is what it looks like. The utopia the NDP has been spinning in the corner of Parliament. They told us everything was going to be free and wonderful and just, and there would be
racial equity.
There would be there would be unicorns and butterflies and rainbows, and this would be the utopia. Well, now that all of their policy agenda, all of their agenda is implemented, and people look around and it's a hellscape. Mm-hmm. We have 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario, 35 in Halifax. We have hate crimes are up 253% in the last 9 years. The military is decimated. Wages are dropping. Like, it's the list goes on. And so Jagmeet Singh is trying to disown that ideology, even though that it belongs to him. And he's trying to unsuccessfully to convince people that he's somehow different than that, when in fact Trudeau has only been doing what Singh would have done in his place. And so it is a classic for socialists. What they try to do is change their names and move on and try to have everyone forget their past. And when I say that socialists changed their names, I mean, they were communists, and then they became socialists, and then they became social democrats, and then they stole the word liberal, and then they ruined that word, so they changed their name to progressives, and then they changed their name to woke, and now they claim they don't want to be called woke anymore. Because socialists always try to disown the things they've done because it's manifestly disastrous, and that is what Singh is trying to do, while simultaneously keeping Trudeau's government going. He voted just a couple of weeks ago against a non-confidence motion that I put forward, which contained Singh's own criticisms of Trudeau in Singh's own words. So he voted against his own words to keep Trudeau in power.
Of course he did. The most important part of this interview is where Pierre Poilievre confirms that the NDP started out as communists. A lot of people don't know that, but it is true. It is a group of failed communists from the United States that come up to Canada, and then they just kept on rebranding, and it is what we have right now. And their constitution, their playbook, it hasn't changed that much. If you vote for the NDP in Alberta provincially, it goes to the leadership of the NDP federally. There is only one head of the snake because it is a communist party. You voted for Rachel Notley, or you voted for what might be Naheed Nenshi in the future, you are voting for Jagmeet Singh federally, or whoever the leader of that might be. Check out this interview. Pierre Poilievre lays out a lot of other good stuff. Continuing on with a whole bunch of other news that I got for you today. Here is the Premier of Saskatchewan, Scott Moe. He says, the federal government has announced equalization payments for 2025. And once again, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia will be helping support the rest of Canada. All roads lead to Western independence. This right here could be its own country. All of this money could be staying right here. Doug Ford preaches on how Ontario is just seeing record growth, record investment, blah, 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 and yet they take $546 million. Quebec, the separatist province in Canada, the nation within a country, says that they're fine. They can do everything on their own, but yet they take $13.6 billion from the kitty because they are considered a have-not province. Canada is divisive by design. Look at this. It is divisive by design. This is not a unified country. It is not designed that way. Look, just look at this. It's ridiculous to think that the West cannot be its own country or entity. It is completely different from the rest of Canada. This has got to stop. This has to stop, and it is going to get worse because the world is getting more expensive and Canada is on fire right now. Marco Menacing Mendicino is not seeking re-election. Now, Marco Mendicino will always be remembered for lying about the Freedom Convoy, lying about what happened there. He refuses to acknowledge that the Emergencies Act was unconstitutional. And of course, he pushed and implemented the gun buyback bullshit. He cost Canadians bazillions of dollars. He says he's seeing the light now. He can't go on under this Trudeau government, blah, blah, blah. He is Marco Mendicino the Weasello. Don't believe anything he has to say. Finally, from the Postmillennial, Zelensky praises Canada's role in supporting Ukraine as it takes over G7 leadership. The G7 will get dissolved, and it will be a joke, an absolute joke, because Canada right now is in absolute chaos under this liberal NDP government. All departments of government have gone rogue, especially the Canada Revenue Agency. It is unbelievable what is going on in the world today. Truly is. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.